In this video, we're going to be discussing movement 104 of this form, which is turn the body and chop with the fist. That's a movement that you've done before, but you've not done it from the previous movement before. So we're going to go through it. The transition into it is very simple, but it is different from what we've done before, which is why we're setting this apart as a separate video. The rest of the movements of the form after this are complete repeats of movements that you've done before. So we're going to put all of those into a single video after this. But because the transition into this is slightly different from what we've done before, we are going to focus on that a little bit more in this video. As always, I'm going to begin as if I'd started the form facing you. So directly towards you is south, to my left is east. Our last movement left us rooted really predominantly in the right leg. The left leg was extended back. Our feet were a little bit wider, but about shoulder width apart for this movement. And the left hand was extended as a fist. The right hand was a fist up above the head. Thumb pointing down with the top fist of the right hand, thumb pointing up with the left fist. From here, you're going to shift your weight back. Your left hand is going to turn into a palm, and it's going to come up next to the right shoulder. The right hand is going to stay a fist, and it's going to come forward and drop down and sweep across the front of the body. As that's happening, you're shifting back, and you're going to start to lift the toe of the right foot. So from here, shift back. The right hand's going to continue up in an arc to the left side of the body and then forward toward the east. And as it comes forward, you're going to start to turn the body, which is going to cause you to turn this right foot out. And you're going to shift forward. And then the left hand's going to extend and settle the wrist at the end. So again, this is not a new movement. It's just coming from a new movement. Once again, from our last movement, we're going to shift back. The right hand drops down. The left hand comes in toward the shoulder. Right hand sweeps across the left side, up and over the top. As it comes forward, we're going to start to shift the weight forward and turn the right foot out. Shift to the right leg and push with the left hand, leading with the fingertips, settling with the wrist at the end. And as you go forward, the left heel is going to come up, and the rooting through the left leg that happens is through the ball of the foot of the left leg. Now I'm going to demonstrate as if I had started the form facing this way. So this is south, directly away from you is east. Again, our last movement, we weren't walking a tightrope. We had our feet about shoulder width apart. And the right hand was up high, left hand was punching out in front. Shift back. The right hand drops down, the left hand goes to the right shoulder. Sweep across. And as you go forward, shift, pulling the right hand back next to the right hip. And as you shift forward, the left hand comes out, leading with the fingertips and settles the wrist at the end. The right foot's turned out, the left foot's up on its heel, here. Again, from our last movement, shift back, dropping the right hand down. It sweeps across, shift forward, turning the right foot out, pulling the right hand back, sending the left hand out, and settling the wrist of the left hand at the end of the movement. Now I'm going to demonstrate as if I'd started the form facing this way, so this is south, and that is east over there. Our last movement left us facing to the east, so from here, rock back. This left hand is going to turn into a palm and come in toward the right shoulder. This right hand stays as a fist, and it drops across the front, deflecting across the front, sweeping over, and then returning as a back fist, either a deflection or as a strike, coming out here this way. And then it's going to pull in toward the right hip. So this right hand is doing a big circle all the way around to the hip. The left hand is coming in toward the shoulder, and then it's going to extend out and settle the wrist as we finish the movement. So nothing particularly new. Rock back, here. Sweep across, turn the body, turning the right foot out, shift forward, and push. From here, rock back, turn the body, turn the right foot out, shift forward, and push. Now I'm going to demonstrate as if I had started the form facing this way. So this is south, and directly towards you is east. Our last movement left us here. Now something that you may notice from this is if we're standing wider than we typically do in a bow and arrow stance, when we go into this sort of high modified twist step, it may feel very odd. And so that's something where you want to make sure your stance isn't too wide. But at the same time, you need to find the balance in that slightly wider stance. So this is going to feel a little bit different as far as the footwork or the stance is concerned. And it might feel a little bit wobbly at first, but once you get used to it, you'll find the point where you feel stable in that stance. And we'll talk about some of the pitfalls that lead to less stability in that stance when we get to the pitfall section of this video. So from here, again, remembering you don't want to be too wide, but you don't want to be on a tightrope. So here, a little wider than we typically are, you're going to rock back here. Come across. So this left hand's at the right shoulder, the right hand comes around, and you're going to turn the right foot out. So what this is doing is it's also widening the distance between your feet as your foot comes out here. And so that's going to add to that feeling of, wow, this stance feels really wide. But the important thing to know is that this particular movement is supposed to have a slightly wider stance. So again, from here, rock back. The right hand drops down, sweep across, the right foot turns out, you're going to shift forward and extend the left hand forward. Once again from here, rock back, drop the right hand down, sweep across, forward, turning the right foot out, shift forward, pushing with the left, and settling the left palm. So that's the movement. I'm going to do a demonstration of what the hands are doing a little bit closer here so you can see that, and then we're going to get into the pitfalls. So from here, the left hand comes in, the right hand drops down. So notice this line, this center line here. The right arm's coming across that here. So you have this potential for a lower deflection. It's coming up on the right side and forward. And so the name of this movement is turn the body and chop with the fist. And that chopping can either be used if something's coming in toward my face and I need to deflect it here. So I can chop down on it there. Or I can deflect low and then chop coming over the top and use that as a counterattack. So this right hand is a circle all the way down, up, around, and next to the hip as you go through this motion. The left hand just hangs out next to the right shoulder, and then once this right hand gets out of its way, it starts to move forward for that push, and then settle at the end. So now let's discuss some pitfalls that can happen with this movement. One of the #1 pitfalls that can happen with this movement actually comes from the previous movement, and that's with stepping too wide when you do this strike. So you want to make sure that you keep your feet at least shoulder width apart. Even that, when you shift forward in this, is going to feel very different from how we've done this sort of high twist step before. So make sure when you do the previous movement that you don't step way out to the side, that you keep about shoulder width distance as you do that. So that's the first pitfall. The second pitfall is when you're actually shifting forward. So because your feet are a little wider than we're used to, when you turn this out, this can feel like a very sort of odd, wide stance. The important thing is not to shift your weight forward here because your foot's not there. Typically, we're used to this stance being a little bit more like this, so we can shift our weight more directly forward. Our feet are on either side of the center line, so we still have the side stability, but it's easier to shift just directly forward. With this movement, because our feet are wider, if we shift straight forward, we're just pushing ourselves out over somewhere where there's no support. So you have to shift your weight a little bit to the right as you come forward with this. And you also have to depend a little bit more on that back leg for the side-to-side stability, because it's very easy to lose your balance in this area, and so you need to bring it back and put it over your base. That's really all that there is to this movement. I hope you found this video helpful in either reviewing or learning this movement. If you did find this video helpful for you, please hit the like button, consider subscribing to this channel, and also consider becoming a supporting member to help make sure that videos like this can be made available in the future. Stay safe and healthy out there, and thank you so much for watching.